Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 16th meeting of the Board of Directors. Before we get started, I'd like to ask if there's anyone who would, anyone in the public who would like to speak to an agenda item only, to please come and sign in with Ms. LaPera. Is there anyone who would like to speak to an agenda item only? Okay. At this time, I'd like to approve the minutes of the following meetings of the Board of School Directors. November 18th, 2013, regular business board meeting. December 2nd, 2013, reorg meeting. And accept the minutes of the following committee meetings. November 20th, communications. December 3rd, curriculum. December 6th, policy committee. December 11th, communications. And December 12th, facilities and purchasing. Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. McGinley.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to begin by extending best wishes for the holiday season to everyone, and Happy New Year. We're getting toward that time of year. It's a time of great activity in all of our schools. And tonight we have one of our schools represented by our principal, Sean Bernatowicz, Penn Wynne Elementary School. And I'll invite Mr. Bernatowicz to the podium to share some of what's going on at Penn Wynne.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and share some of the work that's going on at Penn Wynne Elementary. Tonight, I'm very pleased to share the work of the Penn Wynne Elementary students that's helped and assisted and prepared by our art teacher, Mia DiCrescenzo, who's here in the audience tonight, along with Honora Jackson, our itinerant art teacher. Mia is a very tech-savvy art teacher, and part of what Mia did in order to enhance the experience for all of you and myself as well is she said that she was going to record for you, the children, explaining their artwork. So if you have a smartphone and you have a QR reader, you can go out and actually scan these QR codes, which are out next to each of the displays, and hear what it is that the children are talking about. If you need help with any of that technical stuff, just talk to the kids, because that's what I had to do. It was. We tested it and it worked.
We created these class sculptures after learning about the artist Mondrian. Mondrian used horizontal lines and vertical lines in his work. He also used the primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. We made artwork with horizontal and vertical lines. We used red, yellow, and blue paint. Then we worked in groups to arrange our artwork and put them together to make a class sculpture. About different kinds of lines. We looked at zigzag lines, wavy lines, curved lines, loop-de-loop lines, castle top lines, and many more. We used oil pastels to make different lines. We drew some lines vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Then we learned the difference between a line and a shape. A line never closes, but a shape always does. Then we use watercolor to paint all our shapes.
We looked at Pennsylvania Dutch hope chests. We learned that Dr. Barnes collected hope chests, and we will be seeing them in February on our field trip to the Barnes Foundation.
We found lines of symmetry in the hope chest. We used the same simple shapes, designs, and symbols we found in the hope chest to make our own symmetrical artwork. We started with a square piece of paper and found the center by folding it twice. Then we used a compass to make a circle. We drew our symbols in oil pastel on one side of the circle. We folded the paper over to transfer the pastel to the other side.
By doing this, we created symmetry.
Then we watercolored the background.
We have been practicing drawing objects from life. That means we have to look at the objects while we draw it.
We drew our shoes from life. We got to choose what angle we drew them from.
It was hard because many of our shoes have lots of details. It was especially hard to draw the laces.
We learned about contour lines. Contour lines are the outside line or outer line of an object. We chose a color scheme or colors that we felt looked good together. We also chose color that would make our art pop. We created a contour line design around the outside of our shoes. We had to work extra hard to make a thick line. This was a challenging but fun project.
We learned about Romare Bearden's artwork and how he loved jazz music. We learned that jazz music inspired Romare Bearden.
I was very inspired by Romare Bearden this week.
I had a lot of fun learning about Romare Bearden and the artwork that he made.
In art class, we started out by painting paper to a beat. When we were making painted paper for our collage, we listened to music. That helped us stay on the beat. It was hard to paint on the beat.
I cut painted paper that I made before. I also cut magazine paper, regular construction paper, and sheet music.
I think that it was a little challenging to make a banjo out of paper. First, you had to look for the shapes in your instrument, then cut out the shapes. Next, you had to place the cut out pieces of paper on a black piece of paper and glue them down.
I chose the bass because I used to play that instrument. I also thought that it would be a nice challenge, and it was.
I chose the cello because I could picture the shapes making a beautiful piece of artwork. The jazz music really helped my picture come to life.
I think that it was a little challenging to make a collage because the instrument I chose was the piano, and the piano is a very detailed instrument.
I felt that every step in this project made me more creative. That's why I enjoyed doing this art project.
I love my Romare Bearden collage.
And again, I want to thank Miss Diaz. She's only known by her students for her wonderful work with all of our kids and in her help in preparing this for us this evening and displaying the artwork that you see out in the atrium. The other initiatives that I'd like to talk about this evening center around the diversity of Penn Win. Of our 646 students, 12% of our students are Asian, 10% are African American, 8% are multicultural, and 3% are Hispanic. So over 1/3 of our students are considered minority students. One of the goals that we had this year, the overarching goals, was to celebrate and make more visible the diversity that is in Penn Win. We started this at the beginning of the year with a No Place for Hate kickoff project, which we called the Penn Win People Project. And again, Ms. D and a number of other people, including Ms. Kathy Marion, our school counselor, were instrumental in bringing this project to fruition. At the beginning of the year, students were given the opportunity to choose a color of paper that represented them. We had a whole array of papers set out for them. Everybody got to pick whatever color most accurately reflected them. We had many rich conversations about picking paper. Just picking paper led the kids to talk about how they were the same, how they were different. I even got involved when there was a few little disputes about somebody picking the wrong paper. And I had an opportunity to sit with some first graders and talk about, well, there really wasn't a wrong paper. We're all different, and we got to pick the paper that was right for us. The children took these home, and they worked with their parents and guardians at home in order to engage their families in sharing about themselves. They brought these back to school, and during the morning meeting, each child had an opportunity to display their Penn Win person. After all of the children had an opportunity to display them and share them with their classes, we then took them and started to put them around the school. And if you come to Penguin Elementary, as long as the tape holds up, they'll be hanging up on the walls for us. It's just a very visual way of showing the diversity that we do have at Penguin and celebrating all of our wonderful differences. The second thing that we're doing is we have cultural themes throughout each month that we're going to be doing. As part of each of the monthly celebration, we have a number of things that occur. There is the primary display in the atrium, which shows not just the cultures, but specific people at Penguin who represent those different cultures. And we have monthly themes that we're doing as we go through the year. We also have our student council working to go to each of the classrooms. They have buddy classrooms where they share information about the different cultures that we're learning about. We started off in September with Latino culture, and we had people bring in information from Peru, from South America, all over South America. We had our custodian, Mr. Colon, share with us that we missed him. He said, you know, you did Latino culture, Mr. B, but you missed me. You missed Puerto Rico. So I said, Vince, I love it. Bring it in. So Vince brought in and added to our display. And that's been happening on a regular basis. As we do our different displays, we acknowledge the fact that we're trying to be as inclusive as we possibly can, but if we're missing you, let us know. We'd love to have you added. During the month of October, we did German, Nordic, Polish, and Italian American cultures. We have a number of students who actually have come from Italy this year, and Italian is their first language. They were thrilled to see themselves being represented and having an opportunity to share their cultures. We have a number of children who are of Polish descent, and again, having the opportunity to take something very abstract and make it very personal and concrete for the children has been a wonderful experience. Throughout the month of November, we recognized Native Americans and worked, although we didn't have any Native American students in our school, to recognize the culture of the Native Americans. We had a number of people who had experience and exposure because of their past experiences working in Alaska, working out west, who were able to really provide us with some authentic artifacts and give us some real authentic information about Native Americans. In the month of December, we're doing celebrations. One of the things that we're very mindful of is that this is a time of celebration for many of our families. For others, it's not a time of celebration. It is a time where their culture may not necessarily be recognizing or getting their important years part of the year. So we were trying to be as inclusive as we could. We have information in our display currently about Christmas, about Hanukkah, about Kwanzaa. We also have information about Eid and some of the other cultures that are represented at Penguin Elementary. Finally, one of our ongoing initiatives that we have is our Penguin Cultural Proficiency Discussion Group. It's our parent/guardian, faculty, and staff cultural proficiency group. This group meets monthly. We meet in the morning, and at this point this year, we have approximately 25 people who are participating on a regular basis. We are in our fourth year. The first year, we read articles as our focus. The second and third year, we used the text, Courageous Conversations About Race, to guide our discussions. This year, we're using the text, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria, to again guide our conversations and our discussions. And it's a wonderful group of parents and guardians, faculty and staff. Our wonderful custodian, Mr. Hale, would come through and help set up for the meetings. And we got talking one day about what this was all about. And I said, would you like to join us? And Sean said, absolutely. So Mr. Hale, our head custodian, is part of our group and comes and contributes to our discussions. We are very fortunate that we'll be having a community-based meeting at Zion Baptist Church tomorrow evening. We have an opportunity. Reverend Pollard has opened up his facility to us to have a Penguin community-based meeting to embrace and celebrate the diversity that is at Penguin. Anyone who ever comes to any of the performances that we have at Penguin knows that at the end of the concert or the performance, I assign homework to the kids, and it's the same homework. It's a standing homework assignment. And my assignment to the kids is always this. I tell them, you're up here because you're wonderfully talented. You're up here because you have many gifts to offer. I said, but you're also up here because out there in the audience is someone, be it a mom, be it a dad, be it a grandma or grandpa, someone is supporting and encouraging you. And your homework tonight is to go home and make sure that you thank them. So I include myself in that, and tonight I'm doing my homework. I want to publicly thank you, all of you, for all of the wonderful support that you provide, not just myself, but all of our faculty and staff. You lead and you support us so that we can do the wonderful work that we do, and I thank you for this opportunity. Have a great evening.
I was just going to say, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. It sounds like there's wonderful things going on there, and I'm always so impressed with the artwork that the kids are doing and what all the art teachers are doing. So thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Ms. D. You're Mr. B, Ms. D. Does anyone use the real last names there?
We have a few people with full names, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. Okay, thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks.
And it was beautiful to see that artwork and love the use of technology as well. Moving to the agenda this evening, first item is recommending the Board of School Directors approve the proposed calendar for the 2015-16 school year per Exhibit SU-1.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
The next item, I'm recommending the Board of School Directors approve human resource action items as listed in HR 1 through HR 6 on the main agenda and HR 7 on the addendum.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, it's my pleasure to recommend the Board of School Directors approve the agreement as presented to the board for Mia Kim to serve as our Human Resource Manager effective March 1st, 2014, at an annual salary of $126,000.
Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. How about a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion's approved. Welcome.
Welcome, Mia. You want to just step up to the podium so that our vast viewing audience can...
Hello.
So Mia Kim is currently an elementary school principal in Cheltenham School District, where she served for 10 years and taught in Cheltenham and in Philadelphia. She has a human resource management certification through the Wharton School, and she has a great experience as a principal in handling human resource matters. And so we are looking forward to her joining our team, and unfortunately because of Cheltenham's needs, we have a long wait ahead of us, but she will be with us on March 1st.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to serve the district and the community, and I really look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations on your appointment. Next, moving to the report of the Curriculum Committee, Dr. Van Lynch.
Thank you, Dr. McGinley. The Curriculum Committee met on Monday, December 3rd at 8:30. The presentation topics, the first was to have information regarding an AP Physics course proposal. Mr. Arthur Mitchell, Supervisor of STEM, Ms. Nora Christman, Lower Marion High School physics teacher, and Ms. Elizabeth Garvin, Harridan High School physics teacher, presented a proposal for the AP Physics course. Students in the 10th through 12th grades who have completed Algebra 2 would be eligible to take the course. AP Physics 1 is the equivalent to a first semester college course in algebra-based physics and will cover more topics than AP Physics C, Mechanics, which is a less math-intensive physics course. Currently, both Lower Marion and Harridan currently offer 3 first-year physics choices to students: Physics, Physics H, and AP Physics C Mechanics. The proposed AP Physics 1 course would be geared toward a student interested in studying physics or engineering in college. AP Physics 1 would not replace the current AP Physics C. It would rather provide interested students a choice between the 2 courses. The proposed text for the course will be reviewed this summer at the 2014 AP Summer Institute, and the cost for the course totals $16,982.40, including textbook and supplemental materials, summer teacher professional development, as well as curriculum development. The committee raised a few clarifying questions and agreed to move the proposal forward for full board consideration this evening. There was also a presentation by Mr. Mitchell for an SAT preparation course that will come back to committee in January for further review. The proposed course would be a 2-part course consisting of a .25 credit critical reading and writing course and a .25 credit mathematics course. Each course will meet 2 times per cycle and can be taken concurrently or in sequence. Mr. Mitchell walked the committee through various SAT score comparisons, noting that LMSD students scored 298 points above the state and 222 points above the national average. However, Lower Merion School District African American students scored 347 points below the LMSD average, 125 points below the national average, and 49 points below the state average. A course such as this will provide a resource to address such achievement disparities. The administration is currently evaluating related costs to staff the program, provide necessary training and curriculum, proctor the practice tests, and the committee looks forward to receiving updates on this proposal next month. Our final presentation was by Mr. Tom O'Brien, Director of the International Baccalaureate Program, who presented the committee with a proposal for an IB theater course, also to be considered further in January. Mr. O'Brien overviewed the commitment of the district as well as the IB program to the arts. An IB theater course would be taught as a 1-year standard level course or a 2-year higher level course to be consistent with IB requirements. This course would allow IB students the opportunity to participate in a theater course and receive appropriate IB elective credit. District costs for the course are still under review and will come back to committee next month. The meeting was adjourned at 10 a.m. and our next meeting will be Tuesday, January 7th at 8:30. Thank you.
Dr. Marseille?
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the new course, AP Physics 1, per Exhibit CS-1. AP Physics is designed to be equivalent to a first semester college course in physics for non-scientists or science majors who are on the physics engineering track. Completion of the course prepares students for the Advanced Placement Physics 1 examination.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Maureen, would you like to second? Great, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
The administration also recommends the Board of School Directors approve the new course, Advanced Entrepreneurship, per Exhibit CS-2. The Advanced Entrepreneurship class introduces students to the essential components of practical business plan and challenges them to start an entrepreneur venture while still in high school.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the following overnight trip requests per Exhibit CS-3.
Any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Under Student Services, I'm recommending the Board of School Directors approve the student services items as listed. These are agreements for students receiving non-district educational services per Exhibits SS1 through SS3.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Next is a report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. McGinley. The Facilities and Purchasing Committee met on December 12th, 2013 at 8 a.m. We reviewed the list of bills and reviewed without issue. We reviewed an agreement for a surety bond premiums for tax collectors, and that was reviewed without issue as well. We discussed a new procedure for receiving board documents called Board Docs, and this is a new electronic version of board documents that will be voted on tonight, I believe. We reviewed professional services contract with David Blackmore and Associates to ensure quality control on the job sites involving construction. We reviewed additional professional services with Reynolds Construction Management, Inc. The scope of the engagement hasn't changed, but the length of the agreement has been amended to reflect additional months required as a result of the bid schedule changes. Review the amendment to restatement of master agreement for professional services with Moore Engineering Company. The hourly rates have been updated to 2014 rates. We noted that the changes were between 5 and 6% from 2012 rates and were reasonable. We reviewed change orders for Lower Merion High School, Balconwood Middle School, and Gladwin Elementary School, noting no significant change orders. We received an update on the elementary and middle school enrollment expansion projects. Construction has begun off-site for the Penn Valley expansion, and we are on schedule as a result of the indoor modular construction. Gladwin bids have been received, and we're about to bid out the project. Welsh Valley Middle School, we're on target for land development meeting in January with Lower Merion Township Commissioners. The meeting adjourned at that point, and the next Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting will be on January 23rd at 8:30 a.m.
Next is business and finance items. Mr. Orlando.
Okay, under Business Office and Finance, I'm going to take the first three recommended action items in one motion. Approve the list of bills for payment, approve the financial report for November 2013, and the administration recommends the Board of School Directors approves the bonds for Sam Edenbaum, tax collector for Lower Merion Township, and Regina Watson, tax collector for the Borough of Narberth. That is for a 4-year term of January 1st, 2014 through December 31st of 2017.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve? Thank you, Diane. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Subo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
The administration recommends the Board of School Directors adopts the resolution for approving penalty, interest, and fee schedule for collection of delinquent real estate taxes per Exhibit BF-1.
Are there any questions or comments at this point? Okay. Do you have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. There's one opposed, correct? Just want to make sure. Okay, then the motion passes.
The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approves the administration's proposed response and corrective action plan for the Auditor General Performance Audit Report for the fiscal years ending June 30, 2008 and 2007 per Exhibit BF-2.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Under the Facilities and Operations, I'm going to go through the recommended action items that Mrs. Robinson reviewed. The first recommended action is that the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the following bids to contractors awarded in FO-1 for the additions and alterations, general construction, Gladwin Elementary, additions and alterations, plumbing construction for Gladwin Elementary School, additions and alterations for HVAC construction, Gladwin Elementary School, and additions and alterations, electrical construction, Gladwin Elementary School.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
I'll take the next group all in one motion. Recommended action items for the following agreement with Emerald Data Solutions for board docs. That's in Exhibit FO-1. Approve the professional service contract for construction testing services with David Blackmore Associates for not to exceed fee of $25,000 for Gladwin and $30,000 for Penn Valley Elementary Schools per Exhibit FO-3. Approve the amendment to the restatement of master agreement for professional services with Moore Engineering Company, that's in Exhibit FO-4, and approve the additional professional services for construction management with Reynolds Construction for $118,800 per Exhibit FO-5. And since I'm on a roll, I'm going to take the change orders for the new construction and demolition at Lower Merion High School, the modular classroom construction at Gladwin Elementary, and the classroom renovations Ballacua Middle School, and they're in Exhibits FO-6 through 11.
Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, the first action item you identified verbally as FO1, but it's FO2.
Yeah.
2.
I'm sorry, are there any questions?
I did just have one about that, the board docs. Were we to have a board member who didn't have internet access, would accommodations be made for that?
That won't be an issue.
Are there any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Sorry, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion's passed. Okay, we're now moving on to the business of the Board of School Directors, and we're going to have a report of the Policy Committee meeting, which is also Mrs. Robinson for this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. I'll try to be less boring.
Was it that exciting of a meeting? I'm not sure.
I think I was pretty boring.
Kind of hard.
The Policy Committee met on December 6th at 8:30 a.m. Up for a first reading are 3 policies. Policy 112, Guidance and Counseling Services. This policy outlines the general guidance and counseling services provided to students. Policy 109, Resource Materials, which outlines the instructional supplies that are provided free of charge to students as well as in the library and or otherwise by the school district. Policy 007, which was brought back to a first read to reflect a change in the agenda and procedure for public comment. Specifically, we're adding board presentations and honors before audience recognition on agenda items. It was originally brought to the committee to reflect changes in policy regarding public recordings of meetings. Up for a second reading are 2 policies. Policy 108, Adoption of Curriculum Materials. This policy details the texts that are provided to students grades K through 12, and Policy 110, Instructional Supplies. This policy details the additional instructional supplies that are provided to students free of charge and sometimes that are not free, for example, calculators. We also went over the administrative regulations for Policy 108 and Policy 246, 346, 446, and 546, which go over prohibited harassment. Were all updated to reflect current practice as to prohibited harassment. Prior to this revision, the policies spoke only to sexual harassment. The administration wanted to include other forms of prohibited harassment in the policies. The meeting adjourned at that point, and the next Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for January 10th at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, thank you, Sue, but we need to actually vote on Policy 108 and Policy 110, which are up for second reads, correct?
Before we do, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Subi, you mentioned one that up for a first read was 112, 109, and 107?
007.
Right, sorry, right. But on our green agenda, it doesn't have 112?
That was proposed for first reading at the meeting, and then it was decided by the policy committee to pull it back and bring it back to the next policy meeting.
Okay, so 112 is not up for
No,
a first
not
reading?
at this
Okay,
time.
okay,
No.
great. And just one other comment regarding prohibited harassment, and you did explain it. The title prohibited harassment to me begged the question, well, is there allowable harassment? And it's a legal term. I don't know, Ken, if you want to clarify that just a little bit.
Well, the
Because it
policy
was
committee.
confusing to me at the time.
Well, we actually deliberated that at the policy committee meeting, and we've come up with an alternative alternative verbiage to prohibited harassment. I believe it was, I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, like designated category. I can't remember exactly
Right.
what it was, but it's not,
Right.
we did come up with better verbiage.
No, and I was there, and I remember that, and
Yeah.
I just think if anybody watches this, they might have the same question that I had. That's why
Okay.
I thought we would bring it up. But yes, thank you.
Okay, so we are at the point now where we need to vote on policy 108 on curriculum materials and policy 110 on instructional supplies. So do you have any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Are you?
I'd like to introduce a motion to, I'm not sure, I need Ken's help for the wording, to allow a delinquent taxpayer a rare and exceptional exception.
Actually, just for clarification, I think what you're asking for is a motion to approve a tax waiver request for penalty and interest. This person's not delinquent.
Correct.
For
Correct.
tax waiver request pursuant to policy 604 for policy designated as account number, Mr. Orlando?
32-481-66-2.
That's your motion.
Correct. Thank you for the help with the wording.
Do I have a second? Okay, are there any questions or comments?
I'd like to abstain from this vote, as I know personally the people involved.
Any other?
I just wanted to thank the tax collector and the business office. They've handled this matter very professionally, and in my opinion, there are extreme circumstances, and the taxpayer was diligent in his efforts to pay the tax on time.
Are there any other comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, so I think it's 2 were in favor, correct? Is that, do you need a roll? And Diane abstained, right. Okay, thank you, the motion does not.
I have something.
Oh, would you like to say?
Just as a point of order, not on this motion, but I asked the board to approve a calendar, and in the course of the meeting, somebody brought an error to my attention that was in the calendar. So it's a simple correction. So can we correct it and then and approve the calendar as revised?
Sure, you simply need to disclose the correction and ask the board to, basically, you're reconsidering the motion that you already had to approve the calendar with an amendment.
So if you'll turn in a tab to the calendar, you'll see that November 4th is listed as a school is closed and a staff development day, and it should be November 3rd because that is always election day. And unless the nation plans to vote on November 4th that year, we need to move it to Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So we'll be moving that day, the school is closed, and there's a staff development day, to Tuesday, November 3rd, and having school as normal on Wednesday, November 4th.
And shame on those of us with middle schoolers who were just tested on that and didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
We now move to a report of the Communications Committee meeting. Mrs. Pollard?
Because of the way the meetings fell, I have 2 meetings to report on. The first was November the 20th, was the 8:30 a.m. meeting. And one of the things that happened, we talked about the website and you'll hear how things are still going on because that's the way, it's a continuation of things that began and things that are continuing to be improved upon. And the website is being worked on so that anyone will be able to sign up for customized alerts. And also American Education Week was coming up at that point. And our AP honor roll, our AP courses became part of the honor roll, recognized for 85% of Harrington scoring highly. And when I do the December 11th meeting, you'll be able to hear how high we scored in there. The student of the week also at that time was James Tobias, which had a trombone solo at the Kimmel Center. Our young people at Marion were making bracelets and collecting them and selling them, and the proceeds were going to the Red Cross. And at that time, they made $2,000, and this was to help give support to those that were devastated by the tsunami. Working with Silver Point, we are still working with Silver Point to give people an option as far as again, getting the alerts were. At that time, we had just voted upon the change in our choice situations, and letters will be sent out to the parents regarding the decision of the Monday night meeting on November 18th. The next meeting will be held on December the 11th at 7 p.m. Now, December the 11th, we working on customized alerts so that anyone, this is also community members that want to be notified of the things that are happening within the district. You would not have to receive alerts for everything. You could decide which things you wanted to be alerted on and sign up for those alerts. At this point, at the December 11th meeting, the young people had now raised over $3,000 to give to the Red Cross to aid in the assistance of those devastated by the tsunami. It was the best ever education foundation for Lower Marion ever. They raised over $10,000. Now, our AP honor roll, we scored 3s, 4s, and 5s. Also, at this time, all of our winter concerts are in play, and with our notifications for our high school newspapers, Harrington Banner is now entirely online. For whatever reason, the paper wasn't making it at Harrington, and so they decided to put the paper online to help get more young people and adults to receive the information that was coming. The Marionette is still a paper, it still prints in paper. And a questionnaire is going to be sent out to find out exactly why at Harrington there was more interest in online information than with the actual hard copy. Google Hangout. And this is a way for our alumni to be connected, to stay connected to our graduates. Now, the Google Hangout is an online video, and they would be able to have live conversations with alumnus. And so this would be something fun and also something enriching to keep the current students as well as those who have graduated and gone on to do wonderful things. And all of us do wonderful things when we graduate, and to keep people abreast of what's going on. Letters will be going out to all families regarding the choice situation. The next meeting for the communications meeting will be on Wednesday, January the 15th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anybody in the audience who would like to speak to any issue.
Before that, I don't have a legislative report, but just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to announce that there will be a legislative committee meeting. We have not met since the last business meeting, but there will be a legislative committee meeting on Tuesday, January 7th at 8 p.m., and Maureen O'Leary will be the new chair of that committee.
Okay, thank you. We've got to get all of the committees on the agenda. Are you-
Hi. I just have a quick question.
Can you just state your name, where you
Oh,
live?
Sorry.
Please.
Crystal Blunt. As if you guys didn't know that.
Of course we do.
I have just a real quick question about your meeting times, and was wondering for your curriculum meetings that are taking place at 8:30, if you would consider having some of them in the evening, or at least taping them so that parents can, or community can be abreast of what's going on in the curriculum meetings.
Okay, we'll take that under consideration. Thank you. Is there anyone else? No, okay. I'd like to read the Sunshine Act announcements and the scheduled upcoming meetings. December 16th, we met an exec session on real estate and litigation. And then the future school board meetings are scheduled as follows. Tuesday, January 7th, 8:30 a.m. Curriculum Committee meeting. Tuesday, January 7th, 8 p.m. Legislative meeting. Friday, January 10th, 8:30 a.m. Policy Committee meeting. Monday, January 13th, 8 p.m. Education Committee meeting. Wednesday, January 15th, 8:30 a.m. Communications Committee meeting. Thursday, January 23rd, 8:30 a.m. Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. And Monday, January 27th, 8 p.m. our regular board meeting. All of those meetings will take place in this room. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.